am lucky enough to be surrounded by a vintage green stable, trails of picturesque California countryside, and a circle of friends and family. I have learned plenty and made many memories I will never forget. I have never had to study last minute for a final exam or quickly memorize the capitals of random European countries, but I know I have gained knowledge here that is impossible to acquire anywhere else. I cannot relate to you every lesson that the equestrian world has taught me, but I can retell the first things that I understood to be true. I was 6 when I was able to take my first lesson, and it was probably incredibly cute, but not extremely successful. I know my legs did not reach the bottom of the saddle, and looking back, the horse probably could not feel me. I recklessly kicked him forward, and he wisely remained at a walk. My mom drove me to Webb Ranch diligently twice a week for 3 years. When I was 6, my infant brother Nick began to accompany us, and as he grew, so did his curiosity and his energy level. My mom had to follow him around the ranch to discourage him from running into the stalls and upsetting every uptight horse owner on the premises, but she did it. For 3 years, my mom drove me 30 minutes to my riding lesson. The progress was steady and my passion grew. My mom was shocked. She was born in Phoenix, Arizona, where riding was a staple. However, after one injury too many, my mom was unsure that she wanted me to follow in her footsteps. So, when I was born, she kept quiet. We lived in the suburban town of Los Gatos, California. We were far away from any horse country, and her saddle was packed away in a box. Despite her silence, all I asked Santa for when I was 3 years old were Breyer horses. I cannot tell you what inspired my early interest in horseback riding. While my mom insists that she never mentioned her riding adventures to me, and I believe her, she did buy me the toys. She may have never encouraged my excitement, but I cannot remember her discouraging it either. At age 4, I was begging for lessons, and again my mom obliged. She called every local ranch, but no one would accept such a young applicant. The earliest anyone offered was 6, and so, a few weeks before my 6th birthday, I had my first lesson. I need to back up a year to see where the Icelandic horse breed found my family. It was the annual Los Gatos Christmas parade, and my mom and I were not watching the typical attractions. In fact, we missed most of the floats. We were instead wandering the back streets, looking at the horses. After many groups of anxious horses with nervous riders and worried mothers, we happened upon the Icelandic horse group. The people were hanging out completely relaxed and drinking coffee. The atmosphere was drastically different, actually enjoyable. Then my mom and I saw a porta potty with reins hanging out the closed door. A man was using the bathroom while his horse was waiting outside. The rider emerged laughing at his patient horse, and my mom and I joined in. We introduced ourselves, and I visited with my new friend, but too soon the parade started. The rider invited us to the high school parking lot where the horses were staged, preceding and following the festivities. I could hardly wait. I practically beat the horses back to the staging area. We found a group in the parking lot, and less than 5 minutes later, I was sitting on my first Icelandic horse. Her name was Hekla, and her owner was Annette Kuhn. My mom took the woman's card, and she held on to it for 5 years. At age 9, my time was split between my 2 homes, 15300 and the barn at the end of Vineland. My mare, Yelp, and I were best friends. I was responsible for another being, someone who could not speak for herself and needed me to ensure that she was treated like a princess. Today, another little girl primarily rides her, and admittedly, sometimes I am not all that rational about the situation. If my mothering in regards to Yelp is any reflection of how I will handle my children, I should issue the following warning. I will spoil you rotten and ridiculously overprotect you. It is hard for me to allow someone else to take care of Yelp without me supervising. I worry too much. Despite my commitment to school, the newspaper, Stramer, my stallion, training, the world championships, my social life, working, and 1,000 other things I find myself doing, I still want to take care of my girl. I know I am lucky to have found someone who will diligently take care of her and rides her almost every day. But in reality, I sound a lot more rational on paper than in real life. At Loma Serena stables, the days slip easily by. I do not know exactly where the time goes. I clean my tack more diligently than my room. I chat with my family, the horses and neighbors who have become my family. And I try to show the girls how to ride carelessly. I work to keep an area literally filled with dust, spotless. Yet, I never actually work a minute to get the job done. Confucius once said, if you choose a job you love, you will never have to work a day in your life. The highest compliment I have ever been paid came from Gudmar Peterson, a highly respected Icelandic horse trainer whom I've been lucky enough to work with. Gudmar and I had been working for more than an hour on my riding technique in my program. Laura Benson was filming the entire ordeal, and I was worried the mistakes caught on camera would keep me off the U.S. equestrian team. I didn't realize it immediately, In fact, it occurred to me after I wrote this story. But my big moment came when Goodmar told me I ride like an Icelander. He said, when something goes wrong or the horse stiffens in your hands, your first reaction is to drive him through the problem. Many people step on the brakes, and you cannot teach someone how to manipulate the gas pedal. It's great, Madison. You step on the gas. It was not when I was competing in Denmark or Germany or Iceland when I really felt like I belonged in the saddle riding with the big dogs. These were all stepping stones to my big moment. It came when one of the most talented people I have ever trained under, one of my idols, gave me a compliment I'll never forget. It was a long time coming, and I'm not done yet, but this is what I've been working for. My passion was ignited at Loma Serena. It is the sanctuary that taught me to ride on the edge, and the faster the better. At Loma Serena, I was an Indian, and Gyal was my wild horse. We raced the birds and climbed mountains. We chased the sun over the horizon and left reality on the other side.